شكرا لكم جميعا على حضوركم معنا هذا الصباح. سوف نأخذ أسئلتكم بعد قليل، وسوف أطرح السؤال الأول على السيد رئيس لجنة التحكيم السيد لوكا. لقد كنت منشغلا بكثير من الأفلام وكذلك التي عرضت في عدد من المهرجانات، لكنك قبلت الدعوة من أجل أن تكون رئيسا للجنة التحكيم. أطلعنا على السبب. مرحبا. إنه اقتراح لا يمكن رفضه، وبالفعل حتى أكون
and watch movies and talk about cinema. It's probably the most attractive part of my work. At the same time, I like to do things, and I had the time to do it, and also I love the Marrakech Film Festival very much. Last year I was here and I had a beautiful encounter with the students at the film school. I like conversations that keeps going for time. I don't like spot things. Things that take time to build, and I love that. So this is a new step for me in this beautiful institution, in this beautiful country, with these beautiful people. We just finished a movie with Andrew, so we keep going.
Wonderful. We're going to take your questions, and I'll ask that you please identify your media organization and keep your questions as succinct as possible, because there'll be translation as well simultaneously.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My question is for all the jurors. We are very happily going to watch a lot of movies this edition, but we do get that it gets very overwhelming at times. How can you manage being a juror and needing to pay very close attention to all of the movies, since you are going to be crowning one as the winner and such, and you have very little time to watch all of these films? How can you fight it not being overwhelming or too dull at times? And I'm representing Juge Media. Thank you.
صباح خير. I don't think our schedule is that overwhelming, actually. 2 movies a day, and my rule of thumb is, I sort of have the thinking time as long as the movie. Not all the movies, obviously, like Titanic didn't, it was very long. But I think that, we have the time, and I think we have, the talent and the diversity of conversation and, point of views. So, I think we're going to do a pretty good job.
We all have to answer this? Okay. No, I agree with Alia. I don't think there are too many. I hope I can see more films than the ones that we have in the competition. And at the same time, I trust the institution, I trust the programming team. Some of them I know them for a long time, and so I care about their taste. So I hope we are going to enjoy, and we are going to have interesting discussions with our fellow jurors here.
Salam alaikum, bonjour tout le monde.
I agree with what my comrades have said, because if we are here, if we gathered here, it's to watch these films, and watching films will make us even closer and create links, because we haven't had too much time to know each other. I think through these conversations on cinema, because we all love cinema, we're all passionate by cinema, it will create more links between us, and we've got all the time in the world for that.
I'm just very, very excited to... It's a very nice feeling already between the people on this panel, which you never know if it's going to happen. There's a lovely chemistry that's already occurring, and we've already discussed the kind of the weighty responsibility of, we are holding the dreams of filmmakers in our hands, and I think the fact that we all have a comprehension of that makes me feel very reassured and excited to be a part of being some kind of group of mentors to the filmmakers in the festival here, led by, the great Luca. So I feel very, very confident in our fearless president. I really do.
I do feel that it puts us in a very strange state to have a juror and have access to all these films. I mean, it's 2 films a day, Ali said, and sometimes it's 3 or 4 films a day in festival, and you forget what's fiction and what's reality. But I think the fact that we do watch this together is the fact that we have the feeling that films talk to each other, have a dialogue with each other. And it's not a comparison for us. It's as if all the films talk to each other, and it gives us a kind of it enables us to take stock about cinema, but also about the world. So it's a very strange experience. Maybe we look like zombies or sleepwalkers in a few days, but we're still fresh. Well, I think so.
The most difficult thing about the process is not sort of watching the movies, it's the judging of the films. Because it's almost an impossible thing to do, to judge cinema and to give it a prize. You know, there are individual stories and dreams. So I think the hardest thing is, getting around this idea of choosing a winner or a best film. But the best part is, I mean, we get to watch 2 movies a day, and that's a dream come true. You know.
I agree with that. That's going to be the difficult part for me, I think. But the fact that I think all of these films are the first or second films of these filmmakers, there's a purity in that vision, and hopefully some mistakes too that make them raw and open and vulnerable in a way that I think some films maybe lack later on or become too polished. So I'm excited about seeing that kind of rawness. I also struggle with wanting to give everyone prizes for something. So that's going to be the difficult part. But watching the movies, I can't wait to do. And I think that they've done a great job of scheduling this in a way that it's not overwhelming and it doesn't become like, too much.
Good morning. To tell you the truth, this is my first time on a jury, so I feel nothing but excitement. I have no idea what I'm going to end up like, but being in Morocco, watching 2 films a day, which I do on a regular day off anyway, and having to discuss those films with the most brilliant artists on this panel, I can't think of anything but being grateful. Thank you.
Oh, my question is for you, Virginie. How do you manage to judge performances related to emotions that are completely different from your culture? For instance, you will judge an actor playing sadness, which is from Asia, and you are not sad like in France, for instance. How you will say, oh, he's good at sadness?
The dialect is to be able to understand one another in our differences and talk and get to know a perspective that we might have not thought about and change our mind maybe. I think it's beautiful to be able to find things in a way that the other have not thought about.
A question for Andrew Garfield and Jacob Elordi. I would like to know if you're more open today to explore opportunities to work with non-American filmmakers, as you've been doing actually with Luca. And I think, Jacob, you're going to star in the next movie that Luca is doing, the new American Psycho. But just I wanted to know if you are, and you can answer that, Jacob, but I would love to know if you're more interested in opportunities like this right now.
That's news to me.
Oh, great.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, if I could, I would work with a filmmaker from every country in the world. Cinema is this, this grand universal language, and I've barely even learned how to say hello. So yeah, my dream is to work with all kinds of filmmakers and human beings and kinds of films. Absolutely, yeah.
Thinking about working with Luca. Luca and myself, we've been trying to work together for 15 years, and finally we managed to this summer. Some of the greatest experiences of my life have been having my consciousness blown apart by how other cultures create, working with the Japanese actors in Silence was one of
as an actor, I was wondering, how do you choose your characters? What makes a character attractive for you? And how was the experience in We Live in Time for you?
Yeah, I had a beautiful experience making that film. It was a kind of a soul healing and a kind of reframing of my understanding of the shortness and sacredness of life. I think it's instinctive. I imagine for all of us on the panel, there's an instinct that we're either called to other films that I said no to, because then I go and I'm able to watch someone who was meant to play that role, much deeper and greater than I, gone on to great kind of acclaim and award-winning from films that, thank God, I said no to, because I would never have won awards for them, and they would never have become these masterpieces or kind of iconic films. And it's either a calling or it's not. It's either a vocation or it's not.
Big business cinema in India.
Always, Bollywood is big production and big commercial cinema, but we've always had authors, since before I was born, whether it was Mrinal Sen, Satyajit Ray, Bimal Roy, Meera Nair even, more recently, and now Chaitanya Tamane. We've had very, very strong voices, and I was bred in the industry, and I don't have a problem with it as long as it lends itself. It keeps the business flowing, it keeps the finance flowing, and if that can make space for individual voices, smaller stories that can be amplified, platformed, and more artists emerging, I'm good with it.
Can we have some questions for Ali and Santiago here?
Yes.
Please.
Is it working? Okay. Hello, hi. I'm Lina Labiat from French magazine Paris Match, and my question is for most of you have been to other festivals like Cannes, Venice, Toronto. What do you feel? It's only the second day, but what do you feel is different for this one, other than the culture, the food, and everything? It's like the films that you have seen, the film that you will see. What is so different here in Marrakech? Thank you.
Well, I don't know because I just arrived and it's my first time here, so I'm wanting to discover it. But I've been hearing about the festival for so many years, so many friends that have been here, and the festival is sort of a myth in cinema industry, like the way it's programmed and the way they treat all the people that come here. And you see that in the walls in this place, all the persons, all the people that I admire that have been here. So it's a great honor, and I'm very happy to be here finally. Thank you, Melita, if you're around, and to share the discussion and to analyze films with these people here that I've been admiring for so long. It's a huge privilege, and I feel very how do I say? Desafiado. When I don't know, I lost my English. I hope I will not lose it when I'm discussing about the films. But it's great to be here.
Certain part of the world, unsurprisingly, it would focus on that part of the world. So, like, Venice or Cannes, even if they are, sort of about the cinema and the world cinema and all that, but there's still like a Eurocentricity, or Sundance, whichever way you want to look at it. And I'm hoping, because like Santiago, this is my first time here, the festival, and we haven't really started, but I'm really hoping to see more movies from North Africa and, Africa generally, more, Arabic speaking movies. So the kind of stuff that, is not necessarily being prioritized in Europe and North America.
Okay. I have two questions. First of them is for Santiago. You just made this wonderful film about the dictatorship, and now we have a tricky situation in the world.
A sort of mantle above that is comprising all the conflicts. It's a little bit how can I say, sensationalist in a way, because of course...
Is it cinema's responsibility to do that? No. Guess what? It's your responsibility. Your responsibility as much as any filmmaker's or anybody else's. And one filmmaker making a beautiful movie that touches people's hearts and opens them up about the human condition and a political situation can be very powerful, but the only reason that this happens in the world is because each person doesn't use their power the way that they can. So don't put it off on filmmakers. Put it off on your family. It's your own responsibility, and we all have to rise up and take our personal responsibility now.
It's quite impactful when you are going to be judging the films in general. And if so, this question is for anyone who wants to respond it. And if so, do you have a favorite film score that you always go back to? Thank you.
One of my favorite movies ever is La Marquise de Vono by Eric Romer, who has no score.
Would like to thank all of you for being here. The jury has to get to work.